the villain role. It is time to embrace the role that you've always were meant to have. You know, I've been monitoring over the last couple of days social media from everywhere outside of the state of Louisiana. From a national perspective, oh, Lane Kiffin's an asshole. He left a team that was going to the playoffs. He's an asshole for doing this. He's an asshole for doing that. And it doesn't matter. None of it matters. As an LSU fan, we need to embrace the villain role. They don't like you. They don't like your new head coach. And we've been here before. They didn't like Brian Kelly either. This one's a little bit different because we reacted in a different way. Fine, you don't like him? Sounds good to me. But all of these people that are coming out here and saying things about Lane Kiffin, whether it be Dan Portnoy at Barstool Sports, whether it be Dan Patrick, whether it be any of these former head coaches, whether it be Urban Meyer, regardless of who the national personality, Brandon Walker, regardless of who the national personality is that's talking shit about Lane Kiffin and his decision to go to LSU, you all did the same thing. Dan Patrick, did you not leave for greener pastures? Dave Portnoy, did you not sell your company for massive amounts of money for greener pastures? We got to embrace the villain role because no one wants you to succeed. But let me tell you one thing that I know for sure. People look at the Lane Kiffin hire and they see him going to LSU, and whether they ever want to admit it or not, whether they ever want to say it or not, whether they ever are going to agree with you or not, people see Lane Kiffin and they see what LSU has done in the past, and now that he's here, they say, oh, shit. What if Lane Kiffin is able to do the things that some of the coaches that had success there, but yet he's on a different level? You know, Lane Kiffin doesn't come off as a guy to me that is not highly competitive. I thought Brian Kelly was competitive, not highly competitive. You have the best offensive mind in the sport with a talent-rich state, which, guys, per capita, I can make the argument, has more talent than anywhere. You're sixth in the nation in putting draft picks into the NFL, and you have less of a population than the bigger states that are putting out more talent in the top five. You only have one P4 state here. So listen, I know that you're seeing all the buzz. Trust me. I know that you're seeing all the negativity surrounding Lane Kiffin. I know you see Portnoy going out there and saying, oh, man, LSU fans are eating all of this up. They should. Lane Kiffin is one of the best head coaches in the country. He's better than Jerome Moore at Michigan. He did things at Ole Miss that were unprecedented. And you have two head coaches, which we're going to talk about the things that Lane Kiffin, I almost said Brian Kelly again. It's so after you do this for 4 years and you talk about the same guys for 4 years, it becomes routine. I'm going to have to get used to saying Lane Kiffin. So if I say Brian Kelly on accident, forgive me. This is new to me too. The bottom line remains, this is one of the best jobs in the country. LSU continues to be and will always be one of the best head coaching jobs in the country. You're mad that Lane Kiffin left. It's very apparent to me that he didn't want to leave his team. Well, if you don't want to be a part of this team, leave. He built that team. He built what Ole Miss is. It took him 6 years to build where they're at right now. And because somebody else has a better opportunity, you want to clown him for it. All these national media guys are hypocrites. You're hypocrites. You know, I've seen Bill Cowher saying some of the same stuff. You literally left for a better job yourself. Don't be hypocritical. Because if you're going to be hypocritical, if you're going to take shots, you've all left for greener pastures. LSU is one of the best jobs in the country. You have the best head coach of all time in Nick Saban, which Lane Kiffin kind of alluded to. He didn't really say what Nick Saban told him. But as I told you 3 weeks ago, as I told you 2 weeks ago, as I told you last week, and as we'll talk about today, there's going to be a story coming out with Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban. Lane Kiffin told you about it today. You have the best head coach in college football of all time telling Lane Kiffin, basically in a nutshell, don't do what I did. That place is elite. You will kill yourself if you do not take it. LSU is a juggernaut, and it's time for everybody to be put back on notice on who you are. And can Lane Kiffin lead you to being that juggernaut is going to be the question. Nevertheless, we're live. Everyone do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. If you're watching us, listening to us on YouTube, like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Every AYS show is brought to you by our good friends and partners over at FanDuel. Download the FD Sportsbook app today. When you download the app, you got so many things that you can bet on. You know, our good friends over at FanDuel today came out with the line for LSU and Ole Miss for next year's game. On the road, LSU's already favored at -1.5. Maybe our good friends at FanDuel are throwing your boy Blake Ruffino a bone. We greatly appreciate them doing that. But they're telling you, and you don't even have a staff yet, or a quarterback, or an offensive line, or really a lot of receivers that you know who's going to be starting, and they still think you'd win because of Lane Kiffin. What does that make you think? Regardless of all that, we're glad to be partnered and powered by our good friends over at FanDuel. We greatly appreciate them being here through the entire coaching carousel and this entire football season. And by the way, well, they're going to be with us for the foreseeable future. So glad to be partnered with our good friends over at FanDuel. Also, I got sent a lot of DMs from a lot of you today saying that you saw your boy on ESPN. Now, I did not really check my phone. You know, you got to get to work. But there's a couple of things I want to mention today. You know, a lot of you that are LSU fans said, well, Blake Ruffino's not credentialed. What about now? What about now? That's number one. Number two, thank you for all of you sending all the kind remarks. I didn't see it. I haven't seen it yet. I literally went to the press conference, drove home, went on Ruffino and Joe, and then came here. I haven't stopped all day. But I was able to see some of your thoughts and comments. Thank y'all for pointing out. I do greatly appreciate it. It's been pretty funny to see that. It's been really funny to see that. All right, let's get to a couple comments before we get rolling here. There's a couple of ways you can get involved in the show. You can send in super chats. You can become a member of the YouTube channel. I need to apologize for something. I said that I was going to try to get some members-only content out today. Guys, there was just no chance. I had to prep for shows. I was up at 6:30 prepping for this show, calling people for this Blake Baker thing that we'll talk about tonight. And then I had to go to the press conference, and I was there from 2 to 6 or whatever it was. So I was unable to do it for you. I will get it out tomorrow. No questions asked. You have my word. But you can become a member on the YouTube channel or send in super chats. Kmart became a member on the YouTube channel along with Accordo 44. Thank you both for becoming members on the YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate y'all doing that. Brad Wentz with a $5 super chat says, hey, Blake, can you try to get me some LSU tickets now because I won't be able to afford them next year? If you can't afford them, I promise you I can. I promise you I can. Since we're all here, there's two things that I want to bring up, by the way. No, I'm not sending little Johnny, your son's Pee-wee football film, to anybody at LSU. That's number one, because, yes, that happens a lot. And then number two, I'm not the guy to get you tickets. If I get tickets, it's going to immediate family, it's going to family, and then very close friends. But I'm not the guy for tickets. But I get what you're trying to say there. David with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. I greatly appreciate you sending that in. Shaquan with a $20 super chat says, hot take, wouldn't have minded seeing Michael Van Buren under Sloan a game or two. Yes, he needed to be fired, but I'd be lying if I said this wasn't calling some nice plays, a few games, and Nuss just wasn't it. But hey, Lane is here to save us now. Yeah, I think Michael's done some really good things. Look, people want him to be on the status of Garrett Nussmeier as a fifth-year senior when he hasn't even gone through a whole year of being a starter. That's unfair to him. Y'all grade him on the Garrett Nussmeier role. Brother, with all due respect, I will have the debate with anybody that I think he's still playing better and played better than Garrett. Garrett missed a lot of things, but that's just me. Alpha Shane on YouTube with a $10 super chat says, I kind of like being the villain. Let's go. Listen, you got to embrace the villain role. You got to embrace it because no one's going to be on your side. Everyone's going to say and hate and talk about Lane Kiffin. Oh, he's going to do it to you. He might. I don't think that there's any LSU fan that looked at the situation that just happened and said that it couldn't happen to you. Because it could, guys. You never know what the future is going to hold here. I believe what Lane Kiffin said today in his press conference. I believe him. There's only a couple of jobs like LSU in the country. There's another thing that I want to mention. I know Chris Lowe is reporting that Ole Miss. Listen, I think Chris Lowe is the best, one of the best at what he does. We have a source off here, and he's got more than I do. But let me tell you what I heard. Lane Kiffin went to the podium today and said, what we have been telling you for weeks on this show. How many times on this show did we say, guys, I am hearing that LSU is putting together a better NIL package and doing things in NIL that no one can match. Ole Miss can tell Lane Kiffin that they're going to match it. Florida can tell Lane Kiffin that they're going to match it. It was the way that LSU told him that they were going to do it that won him over because it made the most sense. And let me tell you, one thing that we're going to talk about, and it's the first thing that we're mentioning as soon as we flip out of the break here. One thing is 1,000% true. The reason that I knew this about what they were doing was because Lane Kiffin said one thing today that I want you to go back in the press conference and listen to. He says, guys, I talked to donors, and they told me that they were how they were going to do it and what they were going to do. Guys, not only did they tell him, they showed him. How do you think I got the info? I'm just being blunt with you. A pissed off villain like LSU is an elite LSU. Embrace it because people around this place are pissed. Saw a lot of them today. A lot of them that are ready to get out their checkbooks and spend money to go win an Natty. Ohio State did it. Why can't you? All right, a couple more, then we're going to get to the show here, and then we'll get to some more of the super chats later. Terps with a $2 super chat says, if Blake Baker doesn't stay, who do we go after? I don't know. We'll talk about the Blake Baker thing here tonight. He did interview with Tulane today, so we will talk about that as well. All right, last one. We'll get rolling here. TigerBait24 with a $5 super chat says, I said, let's wear the villain role. Say it with your chest. Lane Kiffin is already stacking a team for next year. I think it's going to be a very fun portal time. I think that we're going to have a lot of fun when it comes to the portal. I'm going to say that. And we'll see. But you're going to have to embrace. Guys, nobody wants to see you succeed. Who gives a fuck? Sorry for the language. Who cares? We cared a lot for Brian Kelly because it was a constant attack. Guys, let's learn from what happened the last time. Bookmark all their tweets. Bookmark every single one of them. And when Lane Kiffin goes out there and gets a big win, then you attack. Lie in the weeds. Let them talk their stuff. Because I truly feel that a new day at LSU is here and that it's coming for you. So I'm really fired up about where we are. I really, really, really am. All right, let's get moving here. Everyone do us a favor, hit the like and share. Every AYS show is brought to you by our good friends and partners over at FanDuel. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we talk about the Lane Kiffin press conference. We talk about Blake Baker. We talk about some other staff stuff, and then we take your questions. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Hey guys, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. They're your local residential mortgage broker located right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. At Red Stick Financial, they find the bank that works for your particular set of needs to purchase the home of your dreams or refinance the current one. They truly are your partners in this process, and they pride themselves in helping individuals and families with one simple goal in mind, and that is to make home financing approachable, attainable, and stress-free. They are licensed in all Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. So from Amarillo to Meridian and everything in between, they have you covered. Red Stick Financial brings you creative, customized solutions, and they don't believe in the one-size-fits-all when it comes to loans. They even have special options for mobile and manufactured homes located in a flood zone and stated income financing for those of us who are self-employed borrowers. If you or someone you know is looking to buy a home, refinance an existing mortgage, or simply want to know what options are out there for your future, give Red Stick Financial a call today at 225-407-9250. That's 225-407-9250. Or check them out online at redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com. Before you purchase the home of your dreams or you go and do that refinance, you need to go local. Go Red Stick. We're back. All right. Couple of things I want to say here. So National Signing Day is on Wednesday. The early signing period, I should say, is on Wednesday. I've given a lot of thought and said a lot of things in reference to what I believe that the calendar should look like. First and foremost, college football in general is going to have to go and get in a situation where they do a National Signing Day after the season. If kids want to sign early and get early exemptions only to early enroll, then they can do that. I think the only kids in college football that should be able to sign early are those kids that are going to early enroll. That is my humble opinion. I think it's not good for college football for National Signing Day not to be in February. That is my opinion. As we look Rudy Pooey here. Hold on. Brandon, are we fun? I don't know why it always does this. Massive crowd, and we got shitty internet. Stand by.